Alrighty, welcome back to a special Everything Else podcast. I am your host, Money Mike, and this is part 2 of 3 Madden 18 videos. I will have part 3 uploaded towards the end of the week, but for right now, this is part 2, and this is why I am going to be comparing EA Sports / the Madden franchise to the WWE. Now, for a lot of people that aren't wrestling fans, you're not going to fully be able to understand exactly the comparisons, but I will try to my best in order to make it easier for you guys to understand. But if you are a wrestling fan, then you will be able to fully understand exactly what I'm talking about. So, for this comparison to work, we have to go back all the way to 2005, when there was a time when there were multiple NFL licensed video games. You had NFL Game Day, you had NFL 2K5, 4, 3, 2K made NFL licensed video games is the point I'm making. But back in 05, you had NFL 2K5. To this day, it's 2017, but it's still highly regarded as a great video game. And in every Madden form, now I am a member on Operation Sports, and I'm not going to tell you my username, but the one constant on sports in the Madden discussion is why EA have not done things that were done 10 years ago on 2K5. 2K5, they had a halftime presentation with Chris Berman. They had the ESPN presentation. Something that Madden tried this with the extra point, and I think it was Madden 10, I believe. They tried this with 2 reporters from NFL Network, where they were obviously in front of a green screen, and they would talk, but it wasn't really specific to what was going on in your franchise. It was more so generic, okay, here's what the scores are, here's what the results of the game was, that kind of thing. And so, to this day, 2K5 is brought up a lot within the football community. Now, mind you, NFL 2K6 was being worked on, but due to EA Sports buying out the NFL license, and now a lot of people want to put the blame on EA completely, but the NFL had a lot to do with that more than EA. The NFL had felt that instead of the NFL license being spread among 2 or 3 different games, it was better to be one game with the NFL license, and EA won the bid, so to speak. Thus why we have had Madden be the only football game in town with the NFL license attached to it. Now, here's the interesting thing about that, is it seems to me, since EA has gotten the license, Madden has had its moments. They have had the games come out in the years, and some of them are great, and they make good improvements, but in the end, it's still a $60 roster update. They make these minor tweaks, and I feel as if, they have the license, they're the only NFL game in town, because they know that with them being the only NFL license football video game in town on console, that they can kind of take it easy. They can kind of make minor improvements, add the rookies and add little things to try to make it a new game, make it worth $60, when truly it all is a $60 roster update, when all we can do is pretty much update the roster by creating all the players, or all the rookies. We can move the players around who sign with new teams, and boom, you can play the previous year's Madden with the updated rosters for free and basically save yourself $60. and not really feel that you're missing anything by not buying the next game. So, I know, you're probably wondering at this point, well, where does the WWE part come into play? Again, let's go back in the time machine. There was a time when the WWE had competition. They were not just the only wrestling show in town. The WCW, bought and owned by Ted Turner at the time, 84 straight weeks, kicked the WWE's butt in the ratings. Head-to-head, Monday Night Raw, Monday Nitro, head-to-head. 84 weeks. And what did that do? It forced Vince McMahon to make changes to his product. Otherwise, we'd probably have the WCW network with us watching old WWE footage on the WCW network. So, essentially, it forced them to make changes, and ultimately, the WWE won the Monday Night War. Granted, the incompetence of WCW in the late 90s, early 2000s also had a lot to do with it, but still, the point being here is that the WWE was so good when they had competition, and when they had the competition that would force them to improve their product. It would force them to have to change how they did things in order to stay competitive with WCW. Now let's go ahead, jump back into 2017, where, well, EA and the WWE pretty much stand tall atop of the mountain. There is no competition for either one of them now. Sure, okay, you have Axis football, you have Canadian football, and you have, maybe there's another football game I'm missing out there, but you have these games, these non-licensed, smaller football games coming out. And I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's like how TNA started out when Jeff Jarrett first started TNA wrestling, where it was just kind of there. And it was just kind of like, okay, when you know about it, but they were just like, you're so used to the WWE that that's the only game in town, when you're pretty much stuck on just watching the WWE. And so you didn't really pay attention to TNA. And then TNA finally was getting noticed. They got their attention. They were on the right track. And much like NFL 2K, where, I think 2K, I don't know what would have been in 2K6, 7, 2K8, if 2K was still making NFL video games. But much like TNA, I think the rug got pulled out from under 2K Sports before they could get good, and before we could actually see some kind of real competition for EA and Madden to really build up. Because I feel like we missed out on the video game version of the Monday Night Wars, where it's kind of like 2K versus EA Sports, and you could have had NFL 2K5 or 2K6, 7, 8, and so forth versus Madden every year, with the fans deciding who they want or which game they want to play. Whether it was 2K6, 2K7, 8, whatever, or they want to play Madden. But at least there would have been options. And I feel at this point where both of them, the WWE and EA Sports, are content. They're not doing much to improve their product because they know, well, no matter what they do, you're going to keep coming back to them. No matter what you do, no matter how badly the fans are going to complain about Roman Reigns, guess what? Vince McMahon does not care because he knows you're still going to tune in and watch. You can complain all you want about the fact that EA has the exclusive NFL license. But you know what? EA does not care. Because guess what? You're still going to buy Madden because you need your NFL fix for a video game. So you can complain all you want about EA having the license. But quite frankly, they are not going to care because you're still buying that game. The WWE right now is at a low point right now. I would say I wanted to go as far as saying a very, very low point, but they're at a low point with the ratings. Monday Night Raw's ratings are hitting an all-time low. Now you can say, well, yeah, cutting the cord, yada yada yada, but quite frankly, the product that the WWE has given us has a lot to do with the ratings being as low as they are. And right now, the only way the NFL is going to be able to say, well, okay, maybe it's time to let 2K or let Sony or let somebody else make an NFL licensed video game. You know when that time will come? That time will come when we, the gamers, vote with our wallets and we stop falling for these subtle minor improvements at EA Sports. And this is a great part on their marketing department to make small improvements seem so major in this grand scheme of things. And they take something so little and they highlight it as this big old feature. Even though it's kind of like, well, I mean, we kind of had that in the game before, but now you're marketing it as a new feature. Like, you know, that's the thing. They're great at their PR department. They're great at EA Sports at marketing and being able to lure you into to buy the game and sell it as new, even though it's just the same game from last year with just paying for a $60 roster update. And the only way that we are going to be able to ever see that change is to stop buying Madden and have each year of Madden, the sales get lower and lower. And for that, maybe to be the reason for EA to kind of start worrying about it. Or maybe for the NFL to be like, okay, well, your sales are going down. I think it's time we better open up the license again. But truly, that's the only way that we're going to be able to hit that point is by voting for your wallet. Or voting through your wallet and not spending the $60 on Madden. That's the only way that we're going to ever get through to EA that we want something new. And with Axis Football, Canadian Football, all these games that are coming up, they're up and comers, right? So essentially it's going to be a while before they can truly compete with Madden. So it's going to be a while. And maybe one of those games can kind of be the ECW of football gaming, where an underground video game development, underground football game can start getting mainstream attention and start to worry EA Sports to start pushing the ideas, because it's crazy. You know, the tweets that Clint Oldenburg and Rex Dixon sent out, you know, it's amazing how they talk about how they're fighting. I think Clint's words were he ninja'd features in at the last second or the last minute, whatever. That to me goes to the last comparison I want to make here, and that's with Vince McMahon himself. This is kind of what writing for the WWE would be like, where you come up to Vince and say, okay, this is the ideas we have, this is the idea that we came up with, only for Vince to be like, nope, we're not doing that. And I feel like the same way for the developers, because I think for the gamers, we go out there and we put the blame on Clint, we put the blame on Rex and the other developers on Madden for not putting something in the game, and it's clear as day now that they're fighting something or somebody, the Suits, i.e. their version of Vince McMahon. I'm sure the developers, they've gone over to the Suits and said, look, this is what we want to do. And the Suits, who are as out of touch as what Vince McMahon is, I mean, quite frankly, I still find it very ironic that that the WWE has a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire, named after a song. But I feel like the developers, they know what we want to see in franchise mode. they want to make these improvements to franchise mode. They understand that my GM on NBA 2K is way, way more deeper than their franchise mode is. And they want to get to that point. But the suits are the ones saying no. No, we're not doing that, because you know what? We want you to make the story mode. We want you to make a story mode. And we want you to go out there in every interview and market it, and push it down everybody's throats. Forget about franchise mode. We're making a story mode. And that's a battle that, unfortunately, makes us, the gamers, who love Madden, and that just ultimately are the ones losing in the end. I mean, quite frankly, I just don't know if we'll ever see the Madden that we all want, with the current conditions being the current suits in charge being very, very out of touch with reality and a how to make a football game in 2017. You know, I just want somebody to just to put this in perspective here, for WWE fans, NXT is thriving very well. And Triple H is the founder of NXT. And he's got it to be as big as it is, and everybody's waiting for Triple H to take over for Vince. So Raw and SmackDown and the main roster can be like NXT. Well, unfortunately, we need a Triple H to emerge at EA Sports to come in there, take over, and finally give the football community what they want and what they have deserved for a very, very long time. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Am I right in my comparison between WWE and EA Sports? And how do you feel about the future of Madden? Will we ever get to that point of getting the Madden that we all rightfully deserve to have? I've been your host, Money Mike. In part 3, later this week, in the final Madden 18 discussion, I will discuss if the NFL license would ever be open, which companies should make a new NFL licensed video game.